right. Welcome everyone to week 6 of the Founders Forward fundraising series. We're back again with Jonathan. It's October 15th. Jonathan, how are you and how is the fundraise going?
I am doing well. All things considered, it's been a good week. It feels like we're starting to get some more tangible momentum. I think we have some investors that are interested in participating, not leading, but we've been able to use that buy-in or kind of, the talk track of we have approximately, maybe slightly over $1 million soft circled. That's been good to accelerate some conversations and accelerate the prioritization of finding the lead. And it just shifts the conversations just a little bit, which has been good. So all things considered, it finally feels like we're starting to have some tangible momentum here. I shared with you right before this, have a lot of meetings scheduled next week. So looking forward to that as well.
That's exciting. I mentioned some benchmarks that investors have given us where it's like anywhere from 3 to 6 months, 3 months where you're truly raising. And I think that would be, you're like right in the middle of that now and are starting to get some investors on board. So it's nice to see that those kind of timelines work out. And it's all coming together now.
And I can tell you, it's nice to hear that timeline is appropriate because I'm always feeling like and thinking that it should be moving faster than it is. So this is nice. It's good for both of us to talk it out.
There we go.
On schedule.
So with that, like million, are you going back now to investors maybe you've talked to in the past and you're like, hey, we're starting to get some traction in the round? Are you starting to hit new investors that are probably maybe a better lead? Or
a little bit of both. So the ones that we're going back to also aren't leads, but it's a good excuse to like keep them in the loop if they would want to participate. So the other good news for the business is we've got another verbal commitment this week for a customer. It's a pretty well-known brand. And then we also passed a milestone on our user growth. So that's been I've been sending out a lot of follow-ups. I've been using the visible pipeline to manage like who I need to follow up to. And it's been great, just kind of sending out the update. Hey, it's been an exciting week at the Juice. Got a verbal, past 1,400 users. And oh, by the way, we've got about 1 million soft circled. Reach out if you'd like to talk anymore. And then we're also using that to make some new introductions to potential leads that we intentionally haven't reached out to yet. Now that we have some traction, we can use that to get meetings and drive some urgency on the investor side.
Nice. I saw you hit 1,400 users. So has that been a nice little like carrot for some of the investors in the pipeline?
So I wouldn't say like net new meetings, because you kind of have to understand what it means. And it's part of our pitch, kind of explaining both the brand side growth as well as the member side growth. And even when I'm pitching, I mentioned that we update that number quite often based off the growth that we're having and the traction we're gaining there. So it's a fun little like carrot to just show that things continue that we have momentum, we have early traction, and we want to pour some gas on the fire with cash. And so it's been a good carrot to reach out to the people who at least have the understanding of the business. It's been fun to share that update.
And I actually got a question from one of our own customers, similar stage to you guys. And he was asking about data room. So like pre-seed, seed, like first round of capital they're raising. What do you guys have in your data room right now? And what tools are you using to share that? And any like feedback you've heard from investors?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've kept it intentionally pretty light to this point. I think that's pretty normal in the seed round from what I've been told. We are using Carta for it. So we've got, our cap table, financials, our pitch deck, team, org chart, customers. Let me see. Sorry, I just pulled it up to see if there's, so cap table. That was pretty much it. The one thing I did ask, because I've had multiple investors ask about pipeline. We've got a pretty healthy pipeline. And so I asked if we should include pipeline in the data room, some of our high alpha colleagues. And they said, let people ask about it and then share it. It's also so dynamic. It'd be tough to keep that up to date. But yeah, it's cap table, customers, customer contracts, org chart, financial planning docs, and then the pitch deck. are what's in there.
Interesting. I'm curious why they would ask for pipeline, but at the same time, there's probably so much lumpiness now to all the conversions when you're that early, where I wonder like what an investor would necessarily get out of looking at it, or if they just want to see like the brand names on there, or what that is.
Yeah, so I've been curious as well. Like, are they looking for the like quantity in the pipeline, quality? Are they looking for just the process that we use to move brands through pipeline? Selfishly, I've been hoping that they'll see a brand that they know and be able to help us out or help
Yeah.
that brand out, kind of consider us. So I think I don't know. I haven't gotten any feedback on it despite being asked for it several times. So
Yeah.
that has been interesting.
Anything else that you think is worth hitting on this week?
No, I don't think so. We've got our first in-person pitch scheduled for next week.
I guess that's a plus of like, you don't have to get on a plane and go pitch all over the place.
It has been, I think there's pros and cons to that. I don't know. Like I have been wondering, if I was an investor making a lead investment, I think I'd maybe want to meet them in person, regardless of everything virtual nowadays. Like, I don't know, like maybe that's old school thinking, but I'm curious if that'll happen.
No, that's a good point.
We did meet with Jackson Square Ventures, who's out of the Bay Area and has made some really big investments in the MarTech space this week. And it was interesting. I think last week we talked about the round size and being, maybe big for the Midwest and small for the coast.
Yeah.
Jackson Square, they typically invest in A, not a lot of seed, but it was funny, like, listening to them when we got to the point and they were asking about the seed round size, like they were asking questions as if they were to invest in the seed, they'd probably write the check for the entire round. As opposed to like being the lead, right? Just because that's the only way it's worth it for them. So it just kind of further confirmed or spoke to what you and I talked about last week about just the different round sizes, it also being driven by geography. It's been really interesting to
that is
reactions to it.
So are you going to keep them in the loop then? It sounds like they're probably a little later stage.
Yeah, it was actually a really interesting meeting because when he jumped on and we kind of gave each other a background, he told me we don't typically invest in seed. We will occasionally, but they had some MarTech experience as well as marketplace, B2B SaaS marketplace experience. And so Pete, who I was pitching there, he understood the business really well. He asked really great questions that I thought we had good answers to. At the start of the call, because it was seed, it seemed like he didn't want to be interested, but he got more engaged and more interested as it went on. So he even at the end, he's like, typically I would just say thanks, but no thanks, but why don't you send me the deck? I'd love to like circulate this internally. And he's like, if nothing else, we'll provide some good feedback and would love to stay in touch. So I'm not like expecting any seed involvement there, but it was, I think, good affirmation that it was interesting to him at least.
Yeah, that's promising. Getting the name brand intrigued at something that's maybe not their wheelhouse. So that's cool. All right. Confidence level 1 to 10. We started at 6. We've slowly crept up to 7 week by week. Where are we at?
I'll keep it at 7 this week.
Right.
I think next week's going to be a big week. A lot of meetings. And like I said, it feels like we've started to gain some of that traction and it feels more tangible now than it has in the past. So 7, but I don't want to get overconfident yet either.
And I will talk to you next Friday.
Sounds good. Thank you.